Hello judges, I'm Brooke Hudson and these are my colleagues,
Diana Perez,
Eliza Douglas,
and we worked very hard to prepare research and present a project to you today.
We wanted to research the lungs and how our youth can keep them healthy.
We wanted to inform teens about the functions of their lungs and why it is important to keep them healthy, especially with the rising number of teens who partake in underage vaping and smoking.
It is very important to educate these teens on this topic so we prevent early lung diseases within our youth, so we decided to present to 11th through 12th grade students.
Our learning objectives were to have teens identify the functions of the lungs, identify procedures that can keep your lungs healthy, and be able to label all the parts of the lungs.
We then decided to present our topic to a classroom at our school with students who range from 16 to 18 years old.
Over the course of our presentation, we involved a pre and post quiz to see the knowledge our audience had prior and after our presentation, a model of the lungs, and a labeling game.
For the model of the lungs, we used 2 balloons, a bottle, and straws to show the functions of the lungs when you breathe in and out. We passed the model around the audience so we can see it up close and engage with it.
At the beginning of our presentation, we passed out a pre-quiz to our audience to test their understanding of the lungs prior to our lesson.
This pre-quiz consisted of 4 questions that related to our presentation.
After the audience completed the quiz, we started our presentation.
Our presentation included information on how the lungs function, what the lungs' purpose are, the anatomy of the lungs, how we can keep our lungs healthy, and what can make our lungs unhealthy.
Towards the start of our presentation, during the How the Lungs Function part, we showed and passed around our lung model to keep the audience engaged and make the presentation more interesting.
Toward the middle of the presentation, after the anatomy of the lungs, we passed our blank diagram of the lungs and had the students label the parts of the lungs that we taught them. We did this so we can check for understanding and make the presentation more engaging.
At the very end of our presentation, we passed out our 4-question post-quiz to see what our audience learned from our presentation. You can view the pre- and post-quiz assessments on pages 8 and 9 of our portfolio, and you can view the model and labeling activity on pages 8 and 7.
We then collected the quiz from our audience and thanked them for their time, concluding our presentation.
Our end goal for our presentation was to give teens a better understanding of the lungs and the functions and anatomy.
We also used to prevent teens from smoking and engaging in activities that can be harsh on the lungs, and explaining why the lungs are important.
The reason why we chose this age group is because this is the main group that is currently partaking in smoking and vaping. We wanted to explain to this group the risks that they're putting themselves at when they choose to smoke. We wanted to have them rethink their decisions and take our information into account.
Each one of us worked together as a team to complete the project, which included the portfolio, slideshow, presentation, and research.
We want to thank you for your time today.
Thank you for your time and consideration, judges, and we hope you enjoyed our presentation.
Thank you, judges.